Peace, love, and light. Peace, love, and light. A good friend of mine texted me this picture. He said, Riz, look at this. He said, from a distance, it looks like an image of a woman in the sky. And, so I studied the picture. I looked at it. I threw some highlights on it, some contrast, pulled the exposure up and down. And I'm like, wow, this picture is amazing, bro. And I told him I was going to use it on my next video. And by the way, subscriber picks and breakdowns will be the next video. And when I zoom in on this, I'm like, wow, this is crazy, because we have this type of mass right here. Looks like something is shooting out of it and then curving around. I mean, that's very odd. And then when we zoom in more, and I just focus in on the two anomalies, we have the same situation. We have this dark mass that's oval shaped, expelling something out of it, or maybe vice versa. And it's just very odd. It's definitely not natural. Pull down the light. I'll zoom in a little more. And I'm going to show y'all something in here, folks. Something crazy. Let's get to it. But that's the full pic. Pull the light back up. Basically, he was in the parking lot. He said, I looked up and I saw this. So I'm like, wow, okay. So we're going to get into it. All right. Black and white image. Let's let it focus in. There we go. I'll pull out a little bit for perspective. And you can see this giant figure right here. And further screenshots we'll get to. This is the face. This is an arm coming around. Its head is turned this way. Other arm, and it's holding up this entity right here. Like holding him under the arms. Can't make it up, folks. I'm going to zoom in and then pull down some light. You see this guy? Head, nose, mouth. His arms are hanging down. Here's his body. This giant creature is looking this way, holding him under the arms, like if you were helping somebody up off the floor, or holding them up so they don't fall down. That's the face of the being that's being held up. Here's his head, his eye, his nose, and his mouth is open. Here's his arm dangling down. Here's his other arm dangling down. The creature right here is holding him. Let's take a look at that, folks. And then when we go to other shots with different highlights, pretty much seeing the same thing. Pull it out so you can see it. Moving on. Another screenshot with a different highlight for different perspectives. And I'm going to zoom in on the guy that's being held up. Now his face is really detailed here. I'm going to hold that in there, let it catch up on the focus. Pull down some light. See his face clearly. Nose, eye, mouth open, arms. And here is a very clear shot of the giant creature that's holding him up. You can see it has a beak. It has some type of detail in its structure right here. Eyes, head. It's going to hold that in there and let it vibrate. You see the giant bird deity right here? Eyes, beak, detail in his fur. And you clearly can see the man being held up by him. I'm going to zoom in on the bird face again. Moving on. The entire pic I highlighted. It's the original, full size. Then we'll zoom in. Then we can look at both of the structures that are there. We'll go on the one that we were previously studying. And it appears to be the same thing, like someone's being held up. See his body, his arms, his head, and is being held up by this giant bird being. Can't get over that face. Let's see if the bird's face comes in clear. See the beak and the eyes, the head. Spiritual war going on out here, folks. Now this is very clear. Look at that guy's face. Look at the detail and structure in this anomaly that's being sprayed over them. I'll zoom in on it. See how it's all supernatural and spiritual? It's like faces just going around. Living. Detail and structure and breaks in it. Unbelievable. Just take a look at that. And that's a entity's face right there. Looks like an iguana or a lizard. You can see its neck, you see its eye, you see its mouth coming across, and you see the greenish color. And let's understand that that's a whole square right there, folks. This is some type of portal or gate. Let's hold that in for the naysayers. For people that still don't believe what I'm showing them is 100% real, not made up. We're not making up fluffy poodles in the sky. This is something other. So welcome. All new subscribers, welcome to the channel. Like, share, and subscribe. More importantly, share. This is the square. Look at the detail going around this thing. Geometric shapes. Not cloud. Not water vapor. Reoccurring theme of a face with an appendage on the top. We're seeing that a lot in videos. Now I'll zoom out and show you the entities in the middle. The giant bird being holding up this person. I'm going to zoom in on the being again. Because seeing is believing. Shout out Matlock Soap, Canada. Shout out I Am Goddess and all the queens that visit this channel. Queen Terry, Brother Kirk Washington, Junior, good brother. Haven't seen Jermaine Atkins in a minute, brother. Hope all is well. Haven't seen Area 51 Nick Jackson. I hope all is well. Let's go back to the original and take a look at this, because this is ground zero for what's going on, folks. I don't know if this thing is looping around coming in, but it appears to be the case that this is a separate ship or vessel or whole situation, and it's coming up and coming around and at this other formation that's right below it. And then when we zoom in on this right here, you'll see the face in it. It appears to be some type of lizard creature or crocodile or alligator or dragon. You see the eye, the bony appendages or scales or horns that are on its head going across its back. See its face. And then it has a wing coming out right here. I mean, just take a look at this, folks. This is not made up. I understand this stuff looks cartoonish, but you got to understand we live in a supernatural world, and you need to be aware of that and wake up to it. Everything they told you is a lie. This appears to be some type of serpent being coming around. That's why we're seeing all this detail, structure, and design. Look at that, folks. You can see the face from here. And it's clearly interacting with this right here. And I'll zoom in so you can see the entity that's right here, like look like they're going to battle. He has a helmet on. I'll zoom in. Shout out Brother Quadi for sending me this picture. You can see this guy right here. I mean, come on. We all know what a humanoid figure in a helmet looks like. You see the eyes are darkened out. You see his face, his nose, his mouth, his chin line, and you see the helmet going around its head. And it has a point on top. I'll hold that in for perspective and pull down some light so there could be no doubt. And I'll take you in deep and close of the dragon's face interacting with the man with the helmet on that's poking out of this vessel right here. You can see the redness of the eyes of the dragon. Look at the scales that's on its head. Where do you think they get dragons from, people? Dragons are a reality. I'm showing you one. On this channel, I've showed multiple. I have a pictures of Bigfoot or the Yeti or whatever they call these things. I'm going to redo that video and show folks, because seeing is believing. You can look at that video on my channel. It's called Spirits of the Woods. Moving on. And we still see the dragon's face. Highly pronounced. Detailed. Bony ridges and scales. Snaking around. Wing extended. Other wing over here. And I already showed you what it was interacting with. And at the tail, I showed you already. It's a square, detailed shape. And another face, what looks like to be a serpent being right here. With another skull face or some other crazy looking face off to the side. Clearly you can see it. I'll zoom in. It's staring right at you. Moving on. Shout out Indigo Vertigo. Directed me to his channel. Lucid Vertigo. I'm sorry. Yes, correction. Lucid Vertigo. He said, Riz, you got to take a look at these. So when I did, here we go. I showed them on Collage channel, but we're going to do a major breakdown on these. Like I said, always with this fish body. These are living vessels. Craft, ship, to the layperson, a UFO, an unidentified flying object. But these are living ships, just like off all the Avenger movies that snake through the sky, that come in from other dimensions, portals, wormholes, whatever you want to call it. Always looking like sea creatures with dorsal fins, tail fins. I mean, come on, look at this. This thing has a split in its tail. You can see scales on the side of it. It almost looks like a giant whale shark with its mouth open, sifting for krill. Because you do realize the waters are above also, as above, so below. And then we have this giant bird deity or being that's looking down over the earth. You can see its wings. These are the giant angels that are all around all the time. But you've been told something and you've been so programmed and brainwashed. When you look up, you just believe what they told you and keep moving through the matrix. But I'm here to show you. You could take it or you could leave it. But I don't make anything up. You can see the other wing is extended out this way. The wing is coming this way. You can see detail and feathers, variation of color. Here's the face and beak. I mean, we all have seen giant birds of prey fly through the sky. You can see the wings are spread out. And it looks like the lower part of his body is reaching out for something. But see, this is a spiritual war because I can show you a giant bird being and then show you multiple aerodynamic so-called UFOs right below it. Come on, you can clearly see that's vector shape and pointed, and this is a disc shape. And this is the bottom of the bird's body right here, and there's another craft right here. I'll zoom out again. Giant bird. You see the beautiful colors. You see the detail in the feathers. Look at that. Just flying over. And then right above it, looks like a giant whale shark. That's all in the same picture, folks. Humanoid entity just flying out in the ether. Right above this demonic ass statue. Seeing is believing, folks. Moving on to the next. Pretty much the same shot. Let me pull down the light. And I'm going to show you more detail in the giant bird. The giant angelic looking bird. Now you can see the bottom of his feet. Look like chicken feet. I had an encounter with an angel one time when I was a child. And, you know, I'm an artist naturally. Went to school for it and everything. And I told my mom the story. She said, well, if you saw the angel, draw me a picture of it. And when I drew it, I swear on my life, it looked like the Burger King from the old Burger King commercials. Crown, wings, bird feet. But it had a human face with bird feet and the wings of a giant bird. And it was totally illuminated. I put my blanket over my head and I still saw it. Let's take a look, folks. Anomalies everywhere. You can't get this type of stuff out of natural things. Another picture of the giant whale shark. Nothing but a vessel, folks. Shape shifting, transforming. Moving on. Now, I'm going to do this picture first, and then I'm going to backtrack. I'm going to zoom in on this giant fish-looking creature. Okay, you see the different colors. You see blues, you see pinks, you see violets. And here's the eye of the creature. A living creature. You see its eye and its eyelid, folks? Let me tell you something. Everything alive has an eyelid. Living things blink. Because eyes are supposed to be moist. So understand that, bro, folks. You're seeing a freaking eyelid and a pupil. Look at the detail and the scales on the fish. You see his mouth right here. Now I'm going to zoom that down for perspective. And you see all the other supernatural stuff that's flying around it. Can't have shapes like this in nature flying through the sky. These are, for the layperson, UFOs. Okay. And then we have multiple images that are being thrown off the side of the craft. We have a image of a black woman's face. Eyes, nostrils, mouth, face. Seeing is believing. I mean, she's looking right at you. I'll pull down more light so the other eye comes in clear. But I have one with contrast on it. I mean, how do you get detail like that in nostrils, folks, and lips? Okay, and then look at this entity right here. I swear, I'm not joking. This looks like SpongeBob SquarePants. That's where they get all these television shows and all these things from, because they're showing you all types of entities that really exist. And I'm not joking one bit. They'll give you an entity like this that's part of the spiritual realm, turn into a cartoon and have your children watch it. Because you don't know anything. You think you know. You have to unlearn and then relearn on your own. All through school, you had a teacher. Who's your teacher now as an adult? It should be you. But I digress. Clear image of the woman's face. Feminine electron energy at all times. And we all know this world is inverted. Everything is twisted. I don't even have to go into that. If you are living in this time, you know everything's inverted and twisted. Okay, moving on. That's a highlighted image of the black woman's face. Eye, nose, nostrils, mouth. Seeing is believing. Shout out Colorado Skywatch also. Shout out Skylard Athlete. He just let me know he got a drone and he's going to be putting some work in. And shout out Dwayne Kellum. And of course, first and foremost too, Mavi 777 and Brother Kala. That's the woman's face. I appreciate all new subscribers. So you can look and see all this crazy stuff that's going on. You still can see everything that I showed. The woman's face, the fish being, the demonic looking SpongeBob. I mean, you can see the smirk on his face and the evilness in his eyes, like he's pulling a prank. Let me go back. Make sure I didn't skip any pics. This is a highlighted one of the SpongeBob character. See him? See his eyes and his mouth? He's looking devilish. Just making sure I didn't miss anything. Moving fast. Time is of the essence. That's the woman's face again. That's the crop of it with no contrast or highlight. And I got some other stuff from Colorado Skywatch I want to show. Pictures are crazy, folks. I'm trying to tell you. I hope I got time to get all this in. Now, this is a black and white of a picture from one of his videos from Colorado Skywatch. And I'm going to show you this entity that's bursting through our atmosphere. I put this in a black and white so I can translate a little bit. You can see the wings of the creature, its body, and then his head is coming down right here. I'm going to zoom in on this and then pull down some of the light, because seeing is believing. This is the body of the creature. Here's the wing on this side that's poked up. The wing on that side that's poked up. His head is elongated and stretched down like that. Follow my pen. And this is the face. It's flying over, neck elongated like a giant dragon, and his head is looking down. I'm going to zoom in just on the face. You see the horns on the head? Eye, giant head. I'm going to zoom out and just hold it in, get the best focus I can, then pull down some light. Even though it's so bright, you can almost see the elongation of the neck coming up. Bent almost like a 7. But this is the giant head. This is the neck of the being or a dragon. Here's the wing on this side and the wing on this side. And it's piercing through the atmosphere. Can't have detail like this. Moving on. The face of the creature with a highlight. Same thing. Giant winged being piercing through our dimension. And small pyramid-shaped craft accompanying it. This is the original. I'll zoom in a little more. Pull down some light. And then you can see the pyramid craft that's flying with it. Moving on. Same thing. Just a different perspective. Head right here. Wings. Tail coming in. Small illuminated craft flying with it. Moving on. Gets deep, folks. Another black and white of the dragon beast. Pull down the light. It's so bright right there you can't even see it, but what comes in is this giant being, humanoid being, that looks like it's riding on the back of the dragon. Can't make it up. You see him. Here's his head and face. I'll pull down some light. You can see he's holding the beast, standing right here, and his helmet has a point on it. Still see him. Moving on. One without the black and white. Pull the light back up. And you still see the entity that's riding on the back of him. Massive vessel in the rear. Let's see if this will come in clear. There we go. Windows, solid line going through it. Can't make it up, folks. Full shot. Unbelievable stuff, folks. Still can see it. Black and white. The entity that's riding on the back of him really comes in clear. See how his arm is out this way, one is this way. Here's his body, here's his head, and a point on his helmet. Hold that in tight. Still see him. Controlling the beast. Oh, and it was another pyramid-shaped craft that appeared in this picture also. Let me pull the light back up. Moving on. This was the one without the highlight with the pyramid craft. Okay, let's go back this way, backtrack. Time is of the essence. Giant vessel sliding into our atmosphere. You can see the ship. You can see the detail and design in. Almost looks like a honeycomb or a beehive. The entities on the outside of it. Right here, you see the face, the arm up, the body, the clothing. I'll zoom in tighter. Pull down the light. You can see the face right there. One eye, second eye, nose, mouth. Looks to be a woman. Not making that up. That looks feminine to me. I'll zoom out so you can see. We were just right here, and it appears to be waving. You can see the detail on the outside of the craft. It's ridiculous. Wing in the back and everything. Propulsion system. You see almost like fire shooting out of it. It's piercing the dimensions. And then on the front of it is an angelic being that's like standing in its way. And I'll zoom in on this craft right here. It's not a bug. It's not a bee. Moving on. Back to that craft, so there could be no doubt that it's not a bug or a bee or anything like that, that this is an actual pyramid-shaped craft, and it has other craft that are coming out of it and accompanying it, riding with it in formation, smaller ones, bigger ones. Just see it for yourself, folks.